The movie opens at the middle of the night in a busy street where a young lady commits suicide by jumping off the ledge of a building. After a while, Yoon-yi, our main character of the movie, persuades her roommate to take her to the scene of the suicide. She stands distraught as she stared at the chalked outline of where the lady's body had laid in. The next morning we see an elderly woman visit her apartment building. Later Yoon-yi and the elderly woman meet in a restaurant. The woman apologized for intruding Yoon-yi's apartment and later expressed her intentions in giving her a job. Not long before Yoon-yi is given the job of a nanny, she takes a train and goes to see her new place of work. She's introduced to Hae-ra, who is pregnant with twins, and immediately she begins work. The elderly woman aka Miss Cho gives her a maid's uniform to begin with. Yoon-yi's primary task is taking care of Hae-ra's young daughter, Nami. She escorts the little girl to her room while gradually playing with her. After, Yoon-yi and Miss Cho makes dinner for the family. Later the duo eat the leftovers and were in the middle of brushing their teeth when a car horns. A middle-aged man enters the building with 2 bodyguards. He's Han-gun, a rich and successful businessman. He introduces himself to Yoon-yi as Nami's father and tells Yoon-yi what she'll be doing in the house. He sends Miss Cho to get a bottle of wine for him to drink. Later Yoon-yi takes the wine upstairs to Han-gun and his wife. She goes over to her room to lay down after being exhausted from the day's job. The next morning the duo, Miss Cho and Yoon-yi, prepares breakfast. Yoon-yi takes Han-gun breakfast to meet him. On her way in she experiences Han-gun's enticing piano skills. His rhythm even makes her skip away. When Han-gun prepares to leave for work, everyone is out to see him off. Later during the day, Yoon-yi washes off Hae-ra's hair and does her nails. When Han-gun returns home from work, he decides to have a bottle of wine and use the washroom for a minute when he accidentally stomps into Yoon-yi cleaning the bathtub. Not expecting Han-gun, a large portion of her leg is exposed as she cleaned. Han-gun is a bit enticed by this, but Yoon-yi quickly leaves the room to avoid any discomfort. The next day the family goes on holiday to relax in a hot tub due to the weather while Yoon-yi enjoys the outside pool. When it's midnight, we see Hae-ra and her husband quietly having a hot hormone sandwich. She thinks his eggplant is too deep inside her, so she decided to use her mouth to work. After Hae-ra is asleep, Han-gun goes over to Yoon-yi's bedroom. He gives her a glass of wine and begins to explore some crazy sensational places on her body. Immediately after, he orders her to take control over his eggplant with her mouth while he watched. The holiday is over and the family goes back home. Hae-ra thanks Yoon-yi for helping her around the house while on her bed without having the slightest idea of what Yoon-yi did. Yoon-yi feels bad and falls on her bed. The next morning Han-gun goes to work. Hae-ra greets him as he leaves, but he gives Yoon-yi a seductive look as he walks away. Later that night Yoon-yi tells Nami a bedtime story. Han-gun comes home from work and the 2 housemaids comes out to greet him. He congratulates Miss Cho on her son being given the position as a state prosecutor and gives an envelope to Yoon-yi to give Miss Cho. Miss Cho angrily takes the envelope away from Yoon-yi. After midnight, Han-gun walks around his mansion with a glass of wine. Unknowingly, Miss Cho also isn't asleep too. She goes to Han-gun's room only to find out he wasn't on his bed, which could only mean one thing. Meanwhile Han-gun goes to Yoon-yi's room and enjoys her wet berries with his eggplant. Unfortunately for them this time, Miss Cho is just around the corner listening to their moans. The next morning Miss Cho prepares breakfast for Han-gun. Yoon-yi puts on lipstick and tries to look good for Han-gun. Miss Cho notices this but keeps mute. She takes the food to Han-gun while he plays his piano. He shows her a paper in front of him and directs her to pick it up. She takes it and leaves. When Yoon-yi is sitting on the stairs looking troubled, Miss Cho calls her to eat. At night after serving the family drinks, Miss Cho and Yoon-yi prepares to sleep. Miss Cho tries to understand if Yoon-yi has any lover in her life and if she would want to continue the job as a nanny for a long time. Yoon-yi says she doesn't have a lover and she loves the nature of her job. In the following scene we're shown Miss Cho and Mi-hee, Hae-ra's mother. Miss Cho reveals her suspicion on how Yoon-yi has suddenly added weight all over her body asset to Mi-hee, and reveals she has been having wet hormonal exchange with the boss. The two already realize that Yoon-yi is pregnant even without Yoon-yi knowing herself, and Mi-hee plans on what to do next. Subsequently, Yoon-yi and her roommate is walking to visit Yoon-yi's mother's grave. Yoon-yi confesses to her roommate she has been enjoying her boss eggplant for a while now, even accepting she enjoyed their nights together. She gives her friend the check Han-gun gave to her. Although it might seem much, her roommate still cares for her and is a bit worried about her. After a while Mi-hee, Hae-ra's mother comes over to their home. Yoon-yi is cleaning the chandelier when Mi-hee put on a fake show. She pretends to trip while walking down the staircase and hold on to the ladder Yoon-yi used, but eventually ends up pushing the ladder away and causing Yoon-yi to grab onto the chandelier to avoid falling. But yet Yoon-yi fell, while the little Nami and her mother Hae-ra are both shocked as they witness the whole thing. Miss Cho takes Yoon-yi to the hospital. The doctor says she only had a concussion and would be fine in a few days. Meanwhile, Mi-hee exposes Han-gun, who had been eating Yoon-yi's sweet berries, to her daughter Hae-ra. After talking with Miss Cho on the phone, who said the doctors didn't figure out any signs of pregnancy yet, Mi-hee orders Miss Cho to return home, afterwards asserting to expose Han-gun tonight after returning from his business trip. The next day Miss Cho bring flowers from Mi-hee to Yoon-yi in the hospital, also giving her a consolation fee from the family. Sometime later, when Han-gun is back from his trip, he visits Miss Cho, who is packing a suitcase, just to ask about the whereabouts of the young servant girl. Miss Cho lies to him the maid had malaria and had been taken to the hospital and was admitted for the entire night. The following morning in the hospital, the doctor tells Yoon-yi she is 4 weeks pregnant and congratulates her. As for Yoon-yi, she is very upset to hear about the news of her unborn baby. Her friend tells her to pack her belongings and leave the house for the safety of her child and hers, but Yoon-yi remains silent. Meanwhile, Hae-ra and her mother Mi-hee waits to see what trick or scheme Yoon-yi would pull again. Days later Yoon-yi returns home with her friend. All the women are gathered to welcome her, but only hostility resided in their minds, especially Mi-hee, who pretended to be benign and caring. That very night, Hae-ra is troubled by her husband cheating on her. Her mother consoles her and warns her to be strong, as it is what she has to bear when living with a rich man such as Gun, as all the men in his family are all the same. Sometime after Yoon-yi had settled with her health, Hae-ra walks up to Yoon-yi's room at the middle of the night, clenching onto one of the items used in hitting a golf ball. She is very close to hitting Yoon-yi while she's asleep, but she sees Miss Cho, who secretly followed her upstairs. She gets upset and heartbroken before throwing the item at Miss Cho. The next morning Yoon-yi talks to Miss Cho about how scary the mansion was now. Miss Cho urges her to leave if she thinks that, and no one would care if she's gone. Knowing the capabilities of Hae-ra and her mother, she tells Yoon-yi to leave, but Yoon-yi doesn't quite yet understand the dire situation she's in. Meanwhile, the mother urges her daughter to take care of Yoon-yi's baby because she feared Yoon-yi would come to rise to the same social status as Hae-ra, since she's carrying Han-gun's child. Later Yoon-yi makes her way to Hae-ra's room. She tells her boss a family issue came up and she needed to leave for a while, but Hae-ra, knowing Yoon-yi was pregnant for her husband, slaps Yoon-yi repeatedly, leaving Yoon-yi pissed off and shocked at the same time. Yoon-yi apologizes after realizing they all knew about her affair with the boss. Hae-ra's mother promises to grant Yoon-yi a check of $100,000 if Yoon-yi accepts to abort the baby. Miss Cho prepares an ice bag for Yoon-yi to calm her head. She urges Yoon-yi to just call whatever amount she wants and abort the baby because she knows Hae-ra and her mother would give it to her. Later that night, Nami goes to meet Yoon-yi, apologizing for her grandmother pushing the ladder the other day. Yoon-yi is surprised that the little girl knows about the accident, but she tries to brush it away from the girl's mind. Afterwards, we see Hae-ra coming out from herbal clinic. It's clear she knows Yoon-yi wouldn't give up her baby for all the money in the world, so she poisoned the herbal medicine Yoon-yi drinks every day. Afterwards, immediately ordering Miss Cho to allow Yoon-yi sleep in Miss Cho's room for as long as Yoon-yi stays. Sometime after, the family are preparing to leave to the hospital as it would soon be time for Hae-ra's delivery. Nami goes to check up on Yoon-yi in Miss Cho's room. Nami is a bit concerned that Yoon-yi would be leaving them, but Yoon-yi affectionately explains to the little girl she had her own baby. After the family leaves for the hospital, Yoon-yi walks up to Miss Cho. Having fully concluded on what to do, Yoon-yi decides to keep her baby and not abort it for all the money in the world. Miss Cho later invites Yoon-yi to dine with her. She explains to Yoon-yi the family has a scary set of people and she shouldn't play with them. Afterwards, Han-gun goes to see his wife and the new set of twins. He seems very happy, so he rubs lips with her, but instead she intends to bite his lips off. He manages to remove his lip from her confinement, then awkwardly he leaves the gathering. While leaving, his wife silently throws a curse word at him. At night we see Yoon-yi playing around in the room of Hae-ra. Han-gun comes back home feeling a bit angry at his wife as he looks into a mirror to inspect his lips. He goes to the bathroom only to find Yoon-yi inside his bathtub. Yoon-yi doesn't look surprised but happy. Instead, she asks him to join her. She also tells him about her pregnancy and how his wife maltreated her the other day. Miss Cho quickly comes into the scene, urging Yoon-yi to leave the bathtub immediately. Just as Yoon-yi is about to, she begins to squirm as she witnessed a miscarriage in the tub. Later, before she's taken to the hospital, she pleads with Han-gun on keeping her unborn child. Han-gun doesn't reject her pleas and accepts to keep the baby. This made Yoon-yi a lot happier. After she's taken to the hospital, Han-gun and his mother-in-law have a little chat. Han-gun is very upset upon realizing what his mother-in-law did to Yoon-yi. Mi-hee, his mother-in-law, tries to lie that the child wasn't his and Yoon-yi was sleeping around before getting the job. Han-gun knows the child is his and is very upset because no matter how the situation could turn out, the unborn child was still his and they killed it. In the hospital, Yoon-yi is devastated after finding out about her miscarriage. She ponders who gave the information of her being pregnant to the family. Miss Cho, who has been with her the entire night, confessed it was her. Yoon-yi breaks into tears while hitting Miss Cho a couple times. Miss Cho regrets what she has done and gives Yoon-yi a check to leave and start afresh. Yoon-yi doesn't want to leave. Instead, she wants to exact the same pain the family inflicted on her to them. She wanted revenge and Miss Cho didn't look like she was going to stop her. After she is thrown out of the house, she goes back to leave with her roommate, who tells her to move on and forget everything that had happened. The next day Yoon-yi goes to the mansion to execute her revenge plan. Miss Cho is outside to welcome her with both hands. Meanwhile, Han-gun has a little talk with his wife in the bathroom, who tells him he is not pure anymore and wouldn't let him taste her sweet juicy wet berries and bosoms. He tells her she was pregnant for a long time and he couldn't control his urges. He leaves the shower and sees Yoon-yi holding the twins. He quickly collects them from her and calls for his wife, saying Yoon-yi has gotten insane. After a while the family is all together. Hae-ra instructs Miss Cho to get Yoon-yi out of their house. Not knowing how she got in, Miss Cho refuses and quits her job, letting them know she let Yoon-yi in and leaves to get her bag. Immediately Yoon-yi appears upstairs. She apologizes to Nami. Miss Cho comes outside and begs Yoon-yi to walk out the door with her, but she refuses. Han-gun tries to persuade her with money, but she scorns at him. She confesses she can't live with herself like this. She straps a rope to her neck with the other end attached to a chandelier and jumps off the balcony. The family watches in terror as Yoon-yi dangles side to side, struggling with her last breath. Suddenly she sets herself ablaze, screaming and squirming on the spot. Han-gun is terrified. He rushes his family outside while Miss Cho quietly walks out on them like nothing had happened. The final scene shows the family outdoors in the snow celebrating Nami's birthday, all speaking English. While Hae-ra sings happy birthday, Han-gun pops the champagne in his hand and pours for his wife and a little into Nami's cup. Both appear happy as walks towards the camera while staring at something. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, and leave a like because it helps the channel. Thank you for watching.